हरि ओम। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् प्रपन्नपारिजाताय तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। Bhagavad Gita, a conversation with God daily. In this series, today, chapter 6, shloka number 40. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Partha Naiveha Namutra Vinashastasya Vidyate Nahi Kalyana Krit Kaschid Durgatim Tata Gacchati. Yesterday we saw that after listening to what Krishna said about Dhyana Yoga, Arjuna asks, if a person with real sincerity starts practicing Dhyana Yoga, but in between somewhere he gets diverted, he loses interest and he is not putting the required effort, and finally when he dies, his yogic practice has not yet succeeded. He hasn't yet attained success. Such a person, what happens to him? Whatever he has practiced, will all that go in waste? What happens to such a person? Asks Arjuna. And Krishna replies, Partha Naiveha Namutra Vinashaha Tasya Vidyate. Arjuna, such a person is not destroyed. Either here or in the other worlds. He is not destroyed either in the material gains or in the spiritual gains. Nahi kalyanakrit kaschid durgatim tata gacchati. A person who has performed good things, kalyanakrit, one who has performed good things, he will never be destroyed. And practicing Dhyana Yoga is a very good thing. Trying to control one's senses, desiring for liberation. One who had actually embarked upon that path, he will never be destroyed. प्राप्य पुण्यकृतां लोकान् उषित्वा शाश्वती समाः शुचीनां श्रीमतां गेहे योगभ्रष्टोऽभिजायते प्राप्य पुण्यकृतां लोकान्. The person, after he dies, he attains the worlds that are attained by those who perform yajnas like Ashwamedha. And there he resides for a very long time. Ushitva Shashwati Samaha. For so many years, for a very long time. As if he permanently resides there. Such a long time. He resides there and he enjoys all pleasures of that loka. And after that, Shuchinam Srimatam Gehe Yoga Bhrashto Vijayate. He is born in a very wealthy family and in a family that actually follows everything that is said in the Vedas. So a family that leads a Vedic life and it is also very wealthy. In such a family, that person who had actually failed in his yoga halfway through, that person is now born again in such a family. Athava yoginameva kule bhavati dhimatam etadhi durlabhataram loke janma yadidrisham. Otherwise, if he actually is very far into that yogic practice, he has actually succeeded nearly 3/4, just a little bit remains. Then he is born in a family of yogis, in a family of jnanis. And such a birth, to be born in such a family is very rare. Only by great fortune that a person gets to be born in such a family. Tatra tam buddhi samyogam labhate paurvadehikam yatate chatato bhuyah samsiddhau kuru nandana. And now that he has taken birth again, in this birth he actually is endowed with whatever knowledge he had in the previous births. Till whatever stage he has succeeded in yoga in the previous births. From there he continues. That knowledge, that experience, it remains with him. So from there he continues. If a student has actually passed 9th standard and now he has to join in 10th standard, but his father is transferred to some other place, so they now move to a new city. There, when they move to that new city, that student need not again start from LKG. He can go get admitted in 10th standard in that new school. Similarly, wherever his yogic practice had stopped, yama, niyama, asana, pranayamam, pratyaharam, dharanai, dhyanam, in these stages, wherever it had stopped, it just continues from there in this next birth. So whatever he had practiced does not go waste. And then now again, he puts in effort to succeed in his yoga. Purvabhyasena tenaiva hriyate hyavashopi saha जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य शब्दब्रह्माति वर्तते. And now, because of what he had practiced in his earlier births, because of that vasana, he is actually attracted in spite of himself towards yoga. It happens, right? We get attracted to certain things. We don't know why it happens. Like that, even if he doesn't take any effort to practice that yoga, he doesn't take any effort to approach a yoga master and then learn yoga from him, but it just happens that one day he's automatically attracted towards that yoga abhyasa. Jignyasurapi yogasya, and even if he just has the slight inclination to know something about yoga, he need not even practice or put in great effort. Oh, let me just learn what this yoga is, and he just tries to learn something. Shabda Brahmati Vartate. He just overcomes the rituals specified in the Vedas. That is, the karma part is over for him. Performing rituals. You perform karma yoga and then you become qualified for jnana yoga, we said, right? Here this person now, he is qualified for jnana yoga. He need not perform any rituals specified in the Vedas thereafter. He becomes eligible for jnana yoga. प्रयत्नाद्यतमानस्तु योगी संशुद्ध किल्बिषः अनेक जन्म संसिद्धः ततो याति परां गतिम्. प्रयत्नाद्यतमानस्तु, and if that person in this birth really tries hard, he puts in great effort to succeed in his yoga, then purified of all sins, he actually attains the highest goal, that is, he gets liberated. Aneka janma samsiddhaha. So, after many births, in each birth, he improves upon what he had practiced in the previous birth. So gradually, after many births, he gets liberated. Whatever one practices will never go waste. Where you stop in this birth, you continue. From that, you continue in the next birth, says Krishna. And Jadabharada Upakhyanam, there we can see this. Jadabharada, a great yogi. If he just sits in the morning for puja, he just takes some tulasi leaves in his hand and he meditates. I am not this body, I am that Supreme Brahman. Only with that thought we have to perform puja. And the very instant, he'll just go into samadhi. His dhyana will succeed. And when he comes out of that state, those tulasi leaves would have dried up. So long he would have remained in that state. So, such a successful one, so far he had already achieved in his yogic practice. And what happens? One day, a deer, a pregnant one, comes running and it is attacked by a lion. And it just screams, and in fright it dies also. But it gives birth to a calf and it dies. This Jadabharata sees that and he brings that newborn deer home. And he feels it will die if just nobody takes care of it. So let me just take care of it. And he takes care of the newborn one, and slowly it becomes big. And as it grows, this Jadabharata feels that deer could have just given birth somewhere else. Why is it that it happened just in my ashram before my eyes? So I think God meant me to take care of this deer. I'll take care of it, he thinks. And that deer, it reminds with Jadabharata. This Jadabharata will be sitting in meditation, and suddenly he'll feel, what if some lion or tiger attacks the deer? Let me just go check if it's okay. He'll come running out and see if it is okay. Okay, it's okay, it's fine. He'll just again go back inside, resume his practice. And while he is practicing yoga, this deer will come running. It will climb up on his lap, snuggle into him and sit there. And immediately he'll just stop his yoga. He'll just start fondling that deer. He'll start speaking with it. Like this, slowly, all his yogic practices, all his daily worship, everything was gone. And he always spent time with the deer. And finally but this deer, what it did, after it became big, it just ran off with other deers. And Jadabharata gave up. When he died with thoughts of that deer. I don't know where it went off. I actually brought him up with so much love. Where would he have gone? What happened to him? With these thoughts, he just died. And thinking about what you die, your next birth depends on that. So now he is born as a deer. And he remembers his previous birth. So this deer, or by his instinct itself, because of that sambandha, it just keeps roaming around in that ashram and finally it dies. And now it is born in a Brahmin's family, and right from birth this child is totally oblivious to the world. It is not like other children. It takes no interest in any of the worldly activities. So like this, the child grows, and the story goes like this. He becomes a jnani in this birth, and he never bothers to eat at proper times. He doesn't dress properly. A person without any body consciousness, how can we expect such a person to either care about what he eats or care about dressing himself properly and all that? He just roams around like that. But he looks so well built, very strong, very radiant. And one day, some people, worshippers of Mother Kali, they are looking for a person for sacrificing to Kali. And they see this Jadabharata. They think, oh, such a well-built, healthy man. He is perfect for our sacrifice. So they catch hold of him and they bathe him with all pomp and dress him up beautifully in silk robes, and so many jewels and everything are put on him. Garlands adorn his neck, sandalwood paste all over his body, silk robes and valuable jewels. This Jadabharata is just sitting. He's just not bothered at all about what is happening. He's not bothered that everyone is dressing him up so much, everybody is paying respects to him. And he's not bothered also that they may kill him the next instant. He's just sitting. And these worshippers, when they just try to kill Jadabharata, they take hold of the sword, and when they are just about to kill him, Mother Kali appears there. She appears with all her 8 hands holding the weapons, and ferocious Kali kills everyone present there. And she's just playing throw ball with their heads, says the Bhagavata. And such a fearsome thing is happening there. God herself has appeared before for his sake. Now also this Jadabharata is just sitting. He is not different from that God in any way. And like this goes the Charitra. So why I say this is an example for a yogi failing in his practice, getting distracted and diverted in his practice. He loses sight of his goal, but in the next birth, for one birth, his yogic practice is actually obstructed when he is born as the deer. So whatever that adharmic acts or the materialistic acts that were performed, that connected, that should just veer off, that should go off. And then after that, he is born in a suitable family, and in that birth, through his practices, he attains wisdom and he gets liberated. And the next shloka, tapasvibhyodhiko yogi jnanibhyopi matodhikaha karmebhyaschadhiko yogi tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. Krishna further says, tapasvibhyodhiko yogi. A yogi is superior to a tapasvi. A tapasvi is one who performs penances. That is, he actually deprives his body of various pleasures. And depriving the body, making it suffer, is penance. And such a tapasvi, this yogi is superior to such a tapasvi. Jnanibhyopi matodhikaha. And the yogi is superior to one who has mastered all the scriptures. Shastras. He knows, he is a great scholar. A yogi is superior to such a person also. Karmibhyaschadhiko yogi. And a yogi is also superior to a person who follows karma yoga. Here by yogi, the one who follows dhyana yoga is actually superior to a person who follows karma yoga also. Tasmad yogi bhava Arjuna. So Arjuna, you become a yogi. You practice dhyana yoga. Yoginamapi sarvesham madgathenantaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yuktatamo mataha. And among all yogis, madgatena antaratmana, one who totally meditates on me, one whose thoughts are totally focused on me, and with great sincerity he serves me, he worships me. Such a person actually is the most superior one among all yogis. What is meant here by saying among all yogis? Those who meditate on other gods. Rudra Adityadi Dhyana Parayanam Madhye. Those who meditate on the sun god. Those who meditate on Rudra. Compared with them, those who meditate on me. The meaning is those who meditate on the Supreme Brahman, the Paravastu. One who meditates on that Brahman is superior to everybody else. Because if you meditate on the Brahman, you attain liberation. But meditating on other gods gives you other inferior results. With this ends the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. We'll continue with the 7th chapter tomorrow. Hari Om.